YouTube, what is happening, guys? Took a little drive with the dogs today out in one of the fields. They're outside running around right now, but we're going to talk about tier 2 of spending when it comes to survival and prepping. All right, I just did the tier 1 video, the $100, right? And then we got tier 2, $200, $10,000, $100,000. And here's the thing. If you haven't watched the tier 1 video, I'm going to recommend you go back and watch it. I'll try and put one of those little dealies up here or here, wherever they're going to show up that gives you like a link to the video, because there's a ton of very important information in that video and you need to know where to start. Even if you've been a prepper or survivalist for years, man, I'm telling you, go watch that video. For this video, what we're going to do is continue to focus on survivalist style gear, because what you really have is you got survivalists and you have preppers. And there's some overlap there, right? Because all preppers need to be ready to bug out. But survivalists, what they are is they're people that don't want to invest a lot of time in big time preps. They don't want to invest a lot of money. They don't want to move to a place that's going to keep their family safer when everything falls apart. They're just like, here's where I'm at. This is where my job is. But I'm going to make sure I have the gear I need in case I need to run to the hills and feed my wife and my kids off of the just plethora of wild animals that are going to line themselves up so you can kill them. Because that's how easy it's going to be, right, Peps? No, it's not going to be that easy. I did a video called Shit Hit the Fan Myths or Bug Out Myths or something like that. Go watch it, because everyone needs to have a reality check when it comes to this. That said, you still need to have this gear ready. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. I'm going to try and crank through it, dudes, because I will just go and go. I just did a take of this video. It's 42 minutes, and I wasn't even halfway done, so we're starting over. In the first video, tier 1, $100, I took my $100 and I spent it on 2 purpose-driven knives for cleaning game and also like light woodwork. I spent it on either 1 or 2 fire steels, some Bic lighters, some rabbit snares, and a sharpening stone for my knives. Okay, to me, that's the most important things when it comes to surviving at that tier and that budget, because we're really focusing on the 5 C's of survival right now. And what are those, guys? They are cutting and combustion, probably the 2 most important ones, followed by containers, cordage, and cover, also very important. So you guys probably are like, oh, he's going to get into the other 3 now, right? Like he covered cutting and combustion. Now he's going to get into the other 3. Wrong. Who would have guessed that a fish in the field would throw you for a loop? But no, I'm going to buy more cutting tools, because the tools I purchased at the $100 price point are mostly there to process wood and do light wood tasks, like notching out a figure 4 for a deadfall trap. But I'm going to have to do more specialized cutting, because I'm going to have to process an absolute shit ton of wood in SHTF, guys. Your central heat is gone. Your chainsaw gas is only going to last you so long, not to mention it's going to attract a ton of the wrong kind of attention. So you want to have some portable tools that you can use to process firewood so your family doesn't freeze to death. And for this guy personally, being somebody that uses axe-style cutting tools all the time and is very familiar with them, I would purchase 2 things. One would be a cold steel tomahawk. I own 3 of them right now in the shed back at home. But I would purchase one if I didn't have one right now. They're very affordable. You're talking $25 to $30 price point. And a lot of them you can purchase a leather mask in the $15 range. You can even make one for about the same amount or less if you already have the leather for it. So we're really looking at right around like 40, 45 bucks. They're great. The heat treat's great. You're going to have to reprofile the edge a bit with some sharpening tools, but not hard to do. You get a lot of leverage. These things are great for limbing trees and cross-cutting. It's my personal choice over axes. Because you're not going to be splitting wood, right, dudes? You don't have a wood stove. You don't have a fireplace. You're not rocking that shit, man. You're going to be limiting your cross-cutting to trees that are not 20 inches around. You're going to be limiting it to trees that are 6 to 8 inches in diameter because it's easy to move. It's easy to cut them. It's easy to move them. And really, the next tool I would purchase would be a cheap bow saw from Home Depot and 4 or 5 extra blades. Because guess what? I'm going to be doing most of my cross-cutting with a bow saw, really. The Hawk's going to limb branches. The bow saw's going to cross-cut. I'm golden, guys. I can get a lot of shit done with those two tools. And these saws are cheap. I want to say the last time I bought mine was like 15 bucks, and the spare blades were like $2.99 or some shit. But we're going to say that Bidenomics has screwed everybody, so we'll say that the saw is now 25 and the blades are $5 a piece. So if you buy the saw, you buy 3 extra blades, bam, you're in at another $40. Now, for those of you that do not use axe-style cutting tools, you might want to go a different direction. You still want to get yourself a saw, but you're going to want to buy yourself a large, durable knife because they're just safer, guys. You get less leverage because the handle's not as long. You're less likely to chop your entire foot off. You might just cut into it a bit if you're stupid. But on the flip side, you can baton a lot of limbs off of trees. It's going to give you a chance to learn how to do these things and not hurt yourself. I did a video called Wood Processing in the Apocalypse. Go watch it. It breaks it all down for you. But what you're really looking at is something like a Becker BK7, right around $100, a BK9, right around $110, or like an SE6, right around $116, $120. But I didn't purchase those things, so remember, I'm only in at 80 bucks so far. Next, you want to get yourself a file because you're going to need to keep your tomahawk or your saw blade sharp. The knife, you're just going to use the stone we bought in the first tier, the $100 tier, right? But you're going to need some kind of a file that's going to get this done for you. You don't want something super aggressive. You want something on the more milder side, so that you can get a good sharp point and not remove a ton of material, like excess material. What you're going to do is you're going to touch up these saw blades. You don't get them dull and throw them away. No, you're going to touch them up over and over and over again, pimps. And I will tell you, maybe 5 years ago, I think it was 4 years ago, I did the hardest winter that Arkansas had seen in over 100 years in a 4-season canvas tent with a wood stove. And we cut all of our firewood, oak and cedar, with bow saw and big knives and tomahawks. Did it all for that winter, and I never had to replace a saw blade. They'd get dull after like 2-3 days. Take the file, touch them up, bam, they're back in business. Next, let's get back on combustion again. What else would I purchase when it comes to combustion? Well, redundancies when it comes to these critical items are always good, pimps. So I'd probably get myself another fire steel. Something else that I think a lot of people don't think about is a tinder bag. I would definitely look through my house and source a tinder bag. You know, there's a guy that made a comment on the tier 1 video. He's probably watching this one right now. And it was exactly what I was thinking. And I think I alluded to that in the video. But he said the first thing you need to do before spending any money is you need to go look at what you already have. I absolutely 100% agree with that, because survivalism, guys, is about being resourceful. It's about using what you have. It's not about throwing money at the problem. Like, you can throw all the money in the world at survival and prepping, and it might give you a little bit of an edge, but if you're an idiot and you can't learn to think outside the box or be resourceful with what you have, you're not going to make it. And so that guy is absolutely 100% correct. So for a tinder bag, for example, I would say go look through all your shit. Go find some little draw bag with a drawstring on it that you can keep dry tinder in, because a lot of you out there that haven't spent a lot of hard time out in the wilderness don't know how to find dry tinder no matter where you are. Okay, you don't know how to do that. So what you're going to want to do is when you find it, you're going to want to keep it on you and you're going to want to keep it dry. And you want a little bag that you can use for that. It's going to help with the learning curve, guys. It's going to help bail you out a couple times. And even then, when you're experienced and you know where to find dry tinder, why not have that shit already on your person? It just makes too much sense. Let's get into the next one. Containers. Containers, right? Lots of guys were like, I'd buy a container with my first $100. I'd buy one. I don't know what you already own, so I'm not going to tell you that that's not an intelligent way to spend the money. What I am going to tell you is that containers are all over the fucking place. They're everywhere, guys. I can go walk around this national park out here that's right next to the ranch, and I guarantee you I will find containers the first day walking around. And I know that because why? I've been all over the damn place out there, and there's old-ass beer bottles. There's 2-liter plastic bottles that blew out of the back of some guy's truck. This shit is all over. Abandoned vehicles, under the seats you can find it, old tin cans, in dumpsters, garbage piles, burn piles, whatever it's going to be. There are containers all over the place. So I'm not going to say it's super critical, but you might be in a situation where you don't know about the natural water sources in your area. Maybe you're in a place where there's a shit ton of people and it's a big security concern for you to be out looking for water constantly, so you need to be able to have it on you. Okay, now I'm going to tell you guys the 2 places where I would definitely spend money, because guess what? I already own them right now. So I'm not opposed to spending money on containers, especially for this $1,000 tier. Those 2 things are this: collapsible canteens, basically like a plastic bag, like a heavy-duty plastic bag. I want to say that the brand I own is called Clean Canteen. Clean with a K, but I've used them for years, guys. I started buying them like 10 years ago. Used them a lot to haul water on my sailboat. They're a big wide mouth canteen. I buy the big ass ones. I want to say they're like 108 ounces, and they have like a reinforced ring in the bag, and they're pretty puncture proof against like light stuff like stickers and stuff like that. They're not going to save you if you smack them on a rose bush or poke them with a knife, but you know, they're pretty tough. Eventually, they do wear out from being folded if you're folding them the same way all the time. They get a crease, and the plastic eventually gets weak and will crack and break. But they're super affordable, dudes. I want to say you can get them for like $15 range. So a couple of those folded up, 108 ounces each, is going to be great, man. You can put dirty water in one. You can put clean water in the other one. Definitely a great piece of kit to have. The other thing I would purchase, pimps, is a BPA-free Nalgene bottle. I like the big-ass ones with the big, wide mouth on them. I can't get my big-ass hands in there to clean it, but you know what? The kids and my wife can, and that works for me. I know a lot of guys are like, oh, I got $1,000. I'm going to go spend it on like $160 on a Camelback of shit so I could be all tacked out. You know what? I don't think that's a good use of this resource, especially at this level. I'm here to tell you guys, I've used the shit out of some Camelbacks, man, and they're not as easy to clean. They're not as durable as everyone thinks they are. They start to leak after such and such period of time, and the mouthpiece stinks. And you know what? The mouthpieces stink when you brush your damn teeth twice a day. So imagine if shit hit the fan, what that thing's going to smell like. It's going to be like drinking water out of a dirty butthole, man. Whereas these Nalgene bottles, you can just take it down by the creek, get a little bit of sand and rub it around the edge and clean any funk off of it that's coming out of your dirty ass mouth, and it's not going to taste like ass anymore. The Nalgene bottles are also more durable in my opinion, so that's definitely where I'd go. Let's get on to Cordage real quick. We're going to blow through this one, guys. I'm going to make 2 suggestions for you. Get some 550 cord, get some bank line. 550 cord's great because you can pull the guts out of it and use it as smaller cordage, but it's also 550 pound test when it's all together. If you need to pull a deer up in a tree or need something a little extra heavy duty, you have it on you. You don't need to pack a lot of it. I'm going to say like 100 feet. Probably costs you about 16, 17 bucks on Amazon. Of course, if you're planning on bugging out in a vehicle and shit like that, you can go with a much bigger roll, dudes. I usually buy it in 500-foot rolls, and I want to say last time I bought it, it was like 44 bucks-ish for that much. Bank line is really awesome. I really like it because most of the stuff you're going to use cordage for, you don't need anything super strong, and so you can get a lower test bank line and a quarter pound of it's going to cost you like $10, you're probably looking at anywhere between 200 feet and like 500 feet of it, depending on how thick it is. And the thicker stuff, guys, you can separate the strands. So you can take some 15-pound test bank line and split it up, because you just don't need 15-pound test. You can get a lot of mileage out of it. Like always, guys, learn how to make natural cordage. Cover. This is actually a really big one. A lot of people overlook this. They're like, oh, we need like a shelter half or a tent or a poncho. But it's much more than that. Just like I was saying in the tier 1 video, $100. Cover covers not only those things, but this Shemagh is cover. This t-shirt is cover. The hat's cover. The glasses are cover, right? They protect my eyes. Your sleeping system is cover. Any nice jacket you have is cover. Your boots. So what you really need to do, just like we discussed earlier, that poster said, look at what you already have. You need to look at that and you need to see what's missing. If I had to go to the woods tomorrow and survive, like what piece of critical kit is really missing from this whole lineup? And look at that when it comes to cover. So let's talk about it real quick, guys. Let me talk about some stuff I would definitely purchase with my $1,000. Shemagh, no brainer. This is one of the cheap Rothko ones off of Amazon, guys. It's like, they're like $18, $19 now. Thank you, Bionomics, again. I used to get them for $10. Actually, shit, I used to get them for less than that, man. But you can do so much with one of these things. I own 2 of the Rothko ones, and I also own some like the real Shemaghs from Palestine. And those are super nice, but do you need that? Do you need to spend $60 on one if you can get one for 20 that's lighter and can do pretty much all the same shit? Not really, right? They're just, you know, thicker and sexier, man, and warmer. But these work just great. So get one of these. You can turn them into a bag. I've harvested mushrooms in these. I've packed guns in them. I've thrown dead animals in them. I've done all kinds of shit with these things, guys. Get one. Put on your list. Sleep system. Let's talk about that, because a lot of people are going to say, oh, you need to buy like a nice $300 REI bag in this $1,000 tier. Fuck no, you don't need to do that. I will tell you guys that I purchased 2 really nice sleeping bags. They were like $360 each back in the day from REI, like 13 years ago, before they went woke and shit. And me and my wife actually slept on or in these bags every single night for close to 5 years. That's right. This guy's done it, right? Like I'm telling you guys, I've done it every single night. And what did we get out of that? Well, we got out of it that they were great bags, that they're going to last for a long time. And then my wife got out of it that she hates the feeling of that material against her skin, and she will never sleep in one of those nice high-speed bags ever again. So we moved over to affordable $60 cotton stuffed flannel lined rectangular bags that zip together. That's right, pimps. I would honestly rather carry 4 pounds more sleeping bag, so that when we get where we're going, if we have to bug out, I can zip it up to my wife's bag and have extra fun. You know what I'm saying? Morale matters, dudes. It matters. And so her morale matters to me, but so does mine. So that's what I'm rocking, straight up. I am also rocking a number of wool blankets. I'm going to direct you guys over to eBay. I found that that's the best place to buy them. I've got a whole bunch of different blankets that I'm testing right now. I have ones that are 100% alpaca wool, 100% yak wool. I've got other ones that are like 80% wool. And you know what? My personal opinion is that if you're 80% wool and it's like American made used, that's what you want to be buying, used, or even made in the UK, used 80% wool blankets, they're not uncomfortable. I don't know. I mean, I guess some people have sensitive skin and they can't rock them, but they're comfortable for this guy. And the yak's wool and the alpaca wool is very soft. So 100% all day long, guys. And it's nice and warm. So lots of bang for your buck right there. And a lot of these blankets, you can utilize them as a coat as well. So it's a multifunctional piece of gear. Highly recommend those. Generally, what you're looking at, dudes, is anywhere from about $40 and up. So you can definitely purchase yourself one affordable, either used or recycled wool, or especially like the stuff from Nepal is very affordable. You can buy one in this tier, and I would do that. Footwear and socks. Let's hit it real fast because it is cover as well. Obviously, you need to have a good pair of boots that are going to last you. All right, dudes. And if hopefully you don't have to spend any of this money on that, like you already have some shit in your closet. You really should. If you don't, you're going to need to go out and you're going to have to spend a sizable chunk of this money on a good quality pair of boots. And I'm going to tell you that I haven't found anything made from China that is worth a shit. I'll tell you, I've tried. I've purchased plenty of pairs of boots that were $60, $70, $80, and I always blow them out in short order. So I'm going to tell you, going to have to go American made, man. You're going to have to go Danner or something like that. You're generally looking at $200 on sale. Again, though, check eBay. Dudes, I am not above buying used boots. Matter of fact, I'm wearing my Danners right now. Bam. And you know what? Bought them used at Goodwill in town for $40. So it can happen. And there's deals to be made, pimps. You don't have to go buy all this shit brand new. As a matter of fact, I would recommend that you don't do that, that you try and find the best deals you possibly can, especially if you're down here in the $1,000 tier. Socks. I'll say that you're going to blow socks out faster and shit hit the fan than you ever imagined. I will tell you that in Ranger School, you had to pack 6 pairs of boots. 6 pairs of boots. I was like, the school's only 2 months long, man, and I'm infantry already. Like, why the fuck do I need 6 pairs of boots? Well, I'll tell you guys what. I destroyed 2 pairs of jungle boots. Destroyed. Completely ruined. Blew the eyelets out of them. Just, you know, the leather upper was starting to get tears in it and stuff like that. And if it did that to my boots, imagine what it would do to your socks. So you really want some beefy socks. I'll tell you guys that I just started purchasing darn tough socks probably like 5-6 months ago. Oh shit, I think it was last winter. Yeah, so like, oh shit, like 7-8 months ago now. I really like the socks. I think that they're really good for the price, and I think they're going to last a long time. So I would go that way. You're looking at like $30 a pair roughly, though, $25 to $30. But I'd throw a couple pairs in my bag for sure, because you can always wear one while you're washing the other or waiting for them to dry, and you're going to get a lot of life out of those. If you have to buy cheap socks, I'm going to tell you that Dickies, in my opinion, at the cheap box stores like Walmart and shit like that, have lasted the longest. What's the best way to do overhead cover at this kind of price point? Guys, I'm going to drop some mad infantry freaking knowledge for you right now. What you want to do is just go with the infantry hooch. And what it is it's a USGI poncho. You can buy knockoffs on Amazon for probably right around $30 these days. And you get yourself a handful of bungee cords and some extra 550 cord, which you probably already have put in your cart, right? So here's what you do, dudes. You get out there, and when it's time to make some overhead cover, you take your poncho, and you can wear this thing too to keep the rain off of you. But if you're going to use it for overhead cover, you take your poncho, you tie the hood closed with the strings that come in the hood, and so you have some extra line going up. You're going to take a bungee cord in each of the 4 corners of that poncho, and you're going to stretch them out and wrap them around a tree or a bush or stake them to the ground, whatever it's going to be. And then you're going to tie the hood to a tree branch. And if there's no tree branches there, you're going to take a stick. You're going to cut it about 4 feet long, 3 feet long. How high do you want this thing to be? It depends on your situation, right? But you're going to cut it. You're going to round out the top of it. You're going to stick it up where that hood is and wedge it up inside. And now you got yourself a little tent. We call them hooches. You want to do it on ground that's slightly raised so you're not in a depression, so you don't get super wet if it rains. You know, wake up in a puddle. Bam! Overhead cover, done. And we did it for what? $30 for the USGI poncho, and we'll say another $10, $15 for bungee cords. So $45, it's handled. I think you guys get the idea from cover. Let's move on. Let's talk about a pack. A lot of guys out there are rocking the Alice packs, and you know what? I hate those fucking things, man. To me, there are far better packs that were made by the civilian aftermarket. That's what I'm using. And I'll tell you what I'm actually using right now and what we've actually sourced. If you get on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and you look around, you can find an old vintage pack like the one I'm rocking for $20. That's what I paid for mine. And everything works. Everything works, dudes. It's in great shape. $20, man. And my wife found another one where one of the pocket zippers was a little wrecked, but it was also another vintage pack on an aluminum frame, way more comfortable than an Alice pack. She got it for free. And I also bought another pack a year ago at an estate sale for $18. Dudes, deals are out there, man. Doesn't matter what color it is. You could spray paint it if you have to, okay? Just get yourself a pack right now. Remember, you're at the $1,000 tier. You don't need to go out and spend $400 or $500 at Shields on some high-speed ass external frame pack. Be smart with your money, pimps. Something else I would definitely put in any pack that you're going to rock in SHTF is a waterproof bag. Now, here's the deal, guys. There are surplus bags out there that used to be cheap, and they're not so cheap anymore. Probably because they're drying up, because everyone's buying all this shit because they're getting ready for Civil War 2.0. But there's a lot of waterproof bags made by the civilian market that are pretty good. And you can get these like multi-packs. I bought one recently on Amazon from like Owl Outfitters or some shit like that. And it was like $17 for like 3 or 4 different size bags. So, you know, that's a great way to go. And you could use the small bag as a tinder bag. Because guess what? They're waterproof. You know what I'm saying, dudes? You can also use these waterproof bags as a flotation device if you had to. So you got to swim across the damn river with your pack. You take all your shit out of your waterproof bag that's tucked down your pack, put it back in your pack, fill that waterproof bag with air, and hook it through your belt. Use it as a flotation device to help get your ass across the river. So, again, less than $20, bam, you're set up. I think you guys get the idea, but we're going to cover one more thing in this video, and that's going to be firearms. And that's because I know that there's a lot of people out there right now that have not been survivalists and preppers, and they're just like looking at what's going on in the world, and they feel like they need to get more ready, and now they're ready to buy a firearm, and they don't know where to start. So the first thing I'm going to recommend is that you go watch my videos on firearms. I get into a multi-part series on Your Shit Hit the Fan rifle. I make a lot of suggestions. I talk about shotguns. I talk about handguns. I cover all that stuff, but for the sake of this video, we're going to talk about price points real quick. What I can't do is tell you what brand new firearm, handgun at least, you should run out and buy for $300 because I don't spend that much money on them. I did find my M&P 2.0 9mm with the 5-inch barrel for $390, and it had one magazine put through it, flat dark earth color. They usually go for $650, $700. So it's a real deal. There are deals out there to be had, and you can find them, especially in used guns. I'm definitely not opposed to purchasing used guns, especially if you're buying them from a place that will give you like a 30-day money-back guarantee. I feel like that's pretty important because sometimes you can get a lemon, and that's not what you want to do, is go drop $300 of this budget on some kind of beat-up Model 60 Smith & Wesson in 357 mag and get home and find out it's got all these timing issues and the cylinder gap's horrific and all this kinds of shit. I know, kind of stuff that's over most people's heads if they're not into firearms, but just trust me on this. You want some kind of guarantee that you can bring it back if it doesn't do what you need it to do. But there are deals to be had out there on handguns. I'm going to tell you guys that there is an initial chaos window of shit hit the fan where you want to be able to pack a gun and you don't want people to know that you have it. Okay? So everyone does need to have a handgun. I think a lot of people that watch my channel think I've been pretty hard on them and I think that they're useless. I don't think they're useless. I just think the long guns are better for just about everything, with the exception of convenience and concealability, and there's a place for those when it comes to handguns. If you live in a place where there's a lot of people, and you know you're going to have to be dealing with that, or you're in a place where you can get out and hunt like birds easily, and there's not a lot of people, a 12 gauge shotgun is a great option. And I personally love 20 gauge more than 12 gauge. I think it's better. I'll just say that, I'll be honest with you, but 12 gauge is way more available. It's easier to find. It's easier to scrounge. It's easier to get your hands on it. And so it makes a lot of sense to go 12 gauge. I've got 12 gauge shotguns, just like I have 20 gauge shotguns. You can buy a brand new 12 gauge shotgun at very affordable prices. And you can even buy a quality brand like Mossberg or Remington for right around $300 if you get one on sale. But there's Turkish made shotguns that are pretty good, especially the pump varieties, for even less money than that, guys. So that's a great way to go. And I know someone out there is going to be like, go buy an AR for $400. Go buy a cheap AR. No, this guy's not going to say that, because an AR for $400 is never a $400 AR. By the time you buy your magazines and your chest rig and your optic and your sling and all the other shit you're going to put on that damn thing and ammunition, it's a $1,200 AR. And it's not going to perform like you dumped $1,200 into it, in my personal opinion. So I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that there's a lot of options when it comes to other rifles out there that are known for reliability. And, you know, they're not going to offer as high of a rate of speed like an old bolt action or something like that. And, you know, if you feel like you're going to have to deal with two-legged predators a lot and shit at the fan, you're probably living in the wrong place right now. Like, move now, man. I've said that a million times, and I don't know how many of y'all are listening to me. But if you're going to have to deal with a lot of people, then obviously a bolt-action shotgun is not where you want to be. But if you're not, you don't have to buy all the magazines. It's like you get the used rifle. A lot of times they come with a damn scope on them and or iron sights. You buy the ammo. Bam. You're good. And I feel confident in saying that you can get that done for $400. Not the ammunition, but the actual bolt-action rifle, a decent one that's seen some use for sure and is, you know, kind of marked up and a little bit beat up, but it's going to perform well for you. I'm going to wrap the video right there, guys. I think I'm done, but here's what I want y'all to do, because this is always a conversation on the channel. Where would you spend your $1,000? This guy would like to know. What would you change about the way that I spent my $1,000? Let's go. Comments down below. Pimps, hit it up, man. Help us out with the algorithm. Make sure you like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Dudes, check out my Patreon link in the description. I do huge ass videos for my patrons on there, and I answer their personal questions. And I think it's a good resource for people interested in getting ready for what's coming, because the shit is coming. And you'll also help support the channel by doing it. It's not like I take that money and go spend it on beer and shit. All right, dudes, it's going back into the channel. Got plans to get a drone and a whole bunch of other stuff. All right, dudes, that's it. Thanks for watching. Get your shit ready, guys. Get ready. I'll see you on the next video.